Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good evening, Professor Dr. Hairuddin bin Muhammad Ali and fellow teachers. Today, Group 1 will be presenting our group work entitled Literature on Management from Chapter 2, the book Management from an Islamic Perspective by Khalid Ahmad. Let me introduce our group members. The leader, Mr. Muhammad Azwan bin Muslim. Next, Madam Mardiah Haryati binti Abdul Rahman, Madam Mislina binti Ahmad, Madam Nurul Akmal binti Bahruddin, and lastly, Mr. Hafsham Nur bin Abdul Hamid. Our presentation today will cover the discussion on the topic of literature on management based on this table of contents. We will start with the introduction, followed by Islamic principles of business organizations. Next, modules on leadership from an Islamic perspective. Next, training for Islamic workers. Then, Islamic management for excellence. And after that, Islamic ethics and quality management. And we will conclude with the summary. The objective of our presentation are to explain the Islamic principles of business organization, to explore and understand modules on leadership from the Islamic perspective, to explain the concept of training for Islamic workers, to explain the concept of Islamic management for excellence, and lastly, to explain the concept of Islamic ethics and quality management. I am Hafsham Nur bin Abdul Hamid, and as the first presenter for this group presentation, I will start with the introduction. The need for knowledge in Islam, especially applicable within an organizational setting, is increasingly becoming more important. Applied in any organization, Islam stresses cooperation and a sense of collectiveness among the employees, as in fact the religion cannot be practiced in isolation. According to Jabnoon 1994, the implication of Islam is compliance to the command of God. Islam has been one of the major global forces behind the development of mankind. The Islamic evolution has made remarkable and highly essential contributions in many areas of human life. With regard to management and leadership, Jabnoon 1994 presented several leadership traits as to how a Muslim leader should behave in order to deserve good followers. It was concluded by the author that being just is not sufficient. Managers would need to ensure that the subordinates perceive them as just and fair to avoid creating distrust among the workforce of the organization.
I am Muhammad Azwan bin Muslim. I will describe about Islamic principle of business organization. Ethic is an accepted system, policy, or behavior in an individual or groups. Ethic is influenced by place, ideology, belief, and religion. Yet not all ethics in the Western system are acceptable to human beings. Although various codes of ethic and punishment were introduced, but still not offer solution. As example, many countries allow usury, but the system is actually unfair and oppresses the poor. The same goes for gambling, same-sex marriage, and many other ethics that are actually contrary to the true nature of human creation, but still accepted. In contrast to fundamental value based on Al-Quran and Hadith, there is no value that can be rejected with a rational argument, known as ethical standard. In contrast, fundamental value it is belief, embranch, and implement, but Western ethic known as rule or guideline. Next, we will look at few scholar opinion on work on ethic and its developments. Hanafi and Salam, 1995, present the Islamic view concerning the code of ethics as originating from Quran and Hadith, and which relate to the following six areas: truthfulness, trust, sincerity, knowledge, and justice. While Ahmad, 1995, Islam prescribes certain specific guidelines for the governing of business ethics and identify ethically desirable form of business, specify undesirable mode of transaction, and enumerate the general ethical rule of conduct of business. According to him, the ethics highlighted by Islam are compliant with contrast, false advertising and misrepresentation, accurate measurement and weight, hoarding and profiteering, destruction of surplus products, interest and illegal trade, fair recruitment practice, fair treatment of worker and protection to environment. Next, Abdul Qawi 1995 in his article Islamic Belief as Moderator of Organizational Stress, he believed that certain belief in Islam can reduce stress. The two sentences seems to be opposite, but in reality not. Western work to fulfill the mission, vision of organization, fulfill ethic, rank, and money. But according to Islam, work is also an act of worship. We will feel pressure to do our best because of trust, and at the same time we will try to do our best because people be counted by Allah and rewarded in the hereafter. Not aim to Western ethic, the work need to be not only in heart but also need to be embodied. What is the soul need to be proven by behavior and speech? The Quran states, man require nothing but what he himself has earned, none of his deed is lost, and such will count on the day of judgment. A similar opinion was expressed by Sharfuddin. Islam is one of the external manifestations of faith. Sharif 1995 has also outlined Islamic principle of organizational behavior. According to him, the Quran and Sunnah as internal organizational training of employee and comprehensive guideline for training of Muslim. According to him, some of the broad guideline would be number one, belief in God and engaging in honorable works. Number two, engaging in the promotion of good and forbidding of evil. Third, regularly schedule worship and charity. Fourth, fasting and pilgrimage. Fifth, mutual right and duties between husband and wife, parent and children, employer and employees. Sixth, acquiring knowledge even if it involves long distance travel is encouraged. And seventh, striving for change. By going through that has indirectly shaped and trained human beings to be honest human beings, cultivating teamwork and always prioritizing good work result, discipline and punctuality, having good goal, helpful attitude, and always striving to be better. He concludes Muslims have a giant task ahead in terms of training and retraining themselves as true Muslims to come back to the right track and push forward with their role as the true representative of God in earth. Human beings are caliph and at the same time balanced with the nature of servant to God, thus they need to work the right cognitive and attitude to build organizations that conform to Islamic principle of organizational behavior if they want to be succeed. Next, Sharifuddin comparison in terms of human performance and motivation from Islamic perspective with Western theory. The theories involved are the Maslow hierarchy theory, the Douglas McGregor theory X and Y, and the socialist ideology of motivation and satisfaction. Comparison with the Maslow hierarchy found that Muslims have a unified and attainable religious social code. For example, a Muslim will be satisfied working under an Islamic organization with a small salary compared to a secular organization even with a large salary. This is because employees are able to do their duties as Muslim and in turn contribute to satisfaction. Next, comparison with the theory Douglas McGregor found that Islamic men tend to be more positive related to theory Y. In accordance with Islam, which state that human beings are born in a state of fitrah, being clean or not sinful, but do not refuse to accept the theory completely. While for the comparison with social ideology, employee motivation will not increase and may decrease. This because they are no wage in social society where they are only partner. In contrast to Islam, Islam shows a constant relation between belief and work reward in this life and hereafter. In Islam, whatever you do, God will be the witness and all deed will be recorded. There are no equal term in terms of result and reward. Whoever strive, he will succeed. And this is turn foster motivation among employees. As conclusion, Islam does not rely solely on the impact of the religion on the human concerns, but provides reward security and makes the necessary arrangement to ensure that the individual is satisfied and well motivated.
Thank you, Cikgu Azwan. I'm Nurul Akmal. We present under the topic Modules on Leadership from an Islamic Perspective. This topic refers to module for training in leadership skills wrote by Professor Omar Hassan. His module was introduced at the Muslim Leaders Forum in August 1998, where the forum caters especially for Muslim leaders. This module for training in leadership skills is divided into 6 general themes, and under each theme, workshops are be conducted that further divided into pre-workshop presentation, facilitator presentation, group discussions, and plenary concluding session. Next, we look at the first theme of the module, communication, where it consists of 5 workshops, such as the nature of communication, the communication process, communication in small groups, the art of listening, and the last is ethic of the majlis. Following these themes is the negotiation theme that consists of 7 workshops, the nature and the purpose of negotiation, win-win negotiations, preliminaries to negotiations, principles of negotiations, pressure tactics, conduct of a negotiation session, and deadlock negotiation. The third theme deals with decision making and consists of 4 workshops. First, the importance and role of decision. Second, factors in decision making. Third, process of decision making. And the last, process of problem solving. Strategy and planning follows next and is divided into 7 workshops. First, the understanding of strategy. Second, the understanding of planning. Third, strategy planning. Fourth, lessons from the life of the Prophet Muhammad SAW. Fifth, strategic movements. Sixth, implementation of strategy. And 7, action and tactical planning. The fifth theme of the model deals with da'wah and consists of 2 workshops, titled The Understanding of Da'wah and Method of Da'wah. The sixth and the last theme of the module deals with the concepts of time and consists of workshops divided into 12 chapters. The first part deals with the concept of time. The second part deals with the importance of time. The third part deals with the quality of time, while the fourth deals with the measuring of time. The fifth and sixth parts deal with multiple priority and scheduling of time respectively, and the seventh part deals with the issue of punctuality. The eighth part is balancing in time management, and the ninth is managing interruptions. The 10th is poor time planning, and finally habits and routines and conduct of meetings make up the 11th and 12th parts. According to Khalil Ahmad 2009, from the Islamic perspective, however, The system, such as empirical experience, can be changed with changes in time and space, but should be held within the moral context of Islam or Islamic Sharia. Okay, now my friend and I will continue with next subtopic, training for Islamic workers. According to our textbook, Management from an Islamic Perspective by Khalil Ahmad, he started this topic with the story of the bankruptcy of Enron Corporation, where it was the biggest bankruptcy in US history. The company collapsed in 2002 amid allegations that it misled investors with regards its accounting practice, while at the same time top executives reaped huge profits by selling their holdings. Muslims should view this case as a good reminder and a warning. According to Imam Ghazali, a Muslim who decides to enter a trade as a profession, takes on a profession, or establish a business should first acquire a true understanding of the rules of business transaction codified in Islamic Sharia. To produce dynamic Muslim leaders, a book written by Hisham Al-Talib, Training Guide for Islamic Workers, can be as a reference. It is a training guide and covers various areas in which Islamic workers should have knowledge.
The guide is divided to 5 important parts, which are perspective on training, functions of leadership, skill enhancement and self-development, training for trainers, and lastly, the youth camp in theory and practice.
The first part of guide, Perspectives on Training, the author provides an overview of Islamic movement and its current general state. Within this context, while defining the objectives of the training and the purpose of his guide, he refers to and relates to the Quran. He states that a Muslim as a daya or da'i, or in our bahasa pendakwah, should understand the particular environment and the population he or she resides in. The author also provides an overview of the Islamic movement during the 14th century Hijrah from various aspects and includes training suggestions from historical perspective. In the second part of this guide, Functions of Leadership, the author acknowledges that leadership is a part of Islamic personality and deals with some selected elements of the concept of leadership. He firstly defines the concept itself and its many roles, viewing it from an Islamic point of view. Al-Talib continues by listing a number of factors that one should take into consideration in the leader and qualities that a leader should have. A good leader should, for example, be a good problem solver and be a good decision maker. And that's all from me. Parts 3, 4, and 5 from this book will continue to my brother Hafisham. Okay, Hafisham?
The third part of the guide, titled Skill Enhancement and Self-Development. The most important factor in this context is emphasized by the author, which is that Muslims should always be engaged in a learning process and should never stop learning. This view reminds the readers that there are many facets that make an Islamic character. Muslims should make serious efforts in enhancing and developing their skills while integrating them with the teachings of Islam. In this fourth part of the book, Training for Trainers, Al-Talib emphasizes the actual training itself. He discusses how to assess and analyze the needs for training, characteristics of an effective training program, different types of training, components of training program and its techniques, and how to plan and implement a good training program. Before a person embarks on the training program, an analysis should be made of the individual in order to determine the areas in the need of training. In the last part of the guide, titled The Youth Camp in Theory and Practice, the author elaborates on the youth camp itself, its purpose, camp preparation, program design, the participation of the camp, and its evaluation. The author also includes the concept of adab in Islam in this part of the guide. The purpose of the youth camp is, according to the author, generally to enhance the skills and knowledge of the participants. It provides experience to the youth in various aspects.
Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera. I am Marjahati Abdurrahman. I will continue to the topic of Islamic Management for Excellence. Despite emphasis on the book Islamic Management of Excellence, Revitalizing People for the Future, a book written by Professor Datuk Dr. Said Osman Al-Habshi, 1994. The author explains the importance of a stable family institution. According to the author, it is vital to nurture a good home for one's family instead of a house to live in. In addition, we should also realize that creating a sustainable society requires a multi-dimensional approach to human civilization rather than just focusing on economic success and prosperity. In the Islamic Code of Life, which unifies all mundane and other aspects of life in the normative bondage of Islamic worldview, quality matters so much that one's performance is judged by the quality rather than the mere quantity. Excellence is a requirement not only in big matters, but also in a minor one. Religion, custom, and tradition are the elements that have strong roots in any society and through which to inculcate values into the individuals. That's why the authors of the book further introduce important concepts such as ihsan, justice, and benevolence. Ihsan is over and above the legal equality of justice, al-adlu, and is practiced voluntarily. The concept of justice implies the rendering of what is rightful to whom it is due. Benevolence is a concept which comes into existence when more than just the minimum standard is contributed in what one undertakes. Al-Habshi believed that management ethics in Islam is derived essentially from the Sharia, and one of the bases for Islamic ethics is the concept of Tawheed. The Islamic value system is complete in nature and can be applied universally. The proposed Islamic management model is value-centered. The values stem from Tawheed and freedom from tyranny. Leadership becomes the ultimate and the priority. All the practices of strategic planning, decision making, HRM, human resource management, and system and structures are chosen based on the extent they serve the Islamic values. The concept of participative management is also highlighted in the book by Al-Habshi, who explained the manner in which it can enhance the production of quality service in an organization. According to the author, by creating a sense of belonging towards an organization, the management may strengthen the will of the individuals to meet times of ease as well as hardship in a manner that would ensure the survival of the organization. The authors believe that the dynamics of the two concepts of quality and productivity should be understood and appreciated by leaders because there are role models that deeply influence the culture of the organizations. Nurturing a conducive and effective work culture is also important for the success of a corporation, and among the approaches proposed in these respects by the authors are the qualitative approach, preventive approach, and corrective approach. In order to develop a credible organization in the current times, leaders and staff rich with integrity, with concern and commitment for responsibility and accountability for all their actions would be required. As a conclusion, in summary of this book, Islamic Management for Excellence is interesting and would benefit those who are curious or keen to learn and practice management from the Islamic perspective. However, there is some room for improvement in a few areas of the book. The quality of debt management by studying the human activities within a particular organizational container or bond to lead to a set determination or planning.
Thank you to my friend. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Miss Lina binti Ahmad. I would like to share the last topic of chapter 2, which is Islamic ethics and quality management. The discussing on Islamic ethics and qualities of management, Professor Khalid Ahmad mentioned two great references. The first reference is his book titled Ethics in Business and Management, Islamic and Mainstream Approaches, authored by himself on 2001. The book explains the importance of ethics in business and management, which addresses the importance of sustaining real Islamic value in a world. The book deals with the Islamic ethical system in economic behavior and the social responsibility of businessmen from both the Islamic and conventional viewpoints. He said, the concept of quality is an essential aspect of effective management, and its appreciation depends highly on prevalent social values. Muslim societies have yet to make their contribution towards quality management system. Until recently, the Malaysian market in general and local Muslim in particular lack the means and tools for the certification of quality from an Islamic perspective. Next, the second reference comes from Intellectual Discourse Journal 2003, Volume 11, Number 1, under the title Issues in Quality Management ISO in Relation to Islamic Standard, another publication by Khalid Ahmad et al., 2003. It explains the importance of the concept of quality in business and management. According to the authors, the implications of the application of Islamic values while defining quality standards in the global market have yet to be acknowledged. In response to this, the Islamic Standard Institute ISI 2020 was established in Malaysia to cater for the needs of the Malaysian society and eventually the Muslim Ummah worldwide. Regarding to the outcome of an empirical study, the level of correlation between ISO 9002 and ISI 2020 is still low. This might be due to the fact that ISI 2020 itself as an establishment is still new and not promoted nationwide. Managers and executives, especially non-Muslim, are not yet familiar with this system. Hence, it is rather early to make recommendation for ISI 2020 as an alternative to the existing ISO 9002. With regard to the issue at hand, Islamic ethics and quality management, there is much work available and the list is exhaustive.
As a conclusion, Islam stresses cooperation and a sense of collectiveness in any organizational environment, as the religion cannot be practiced in isolation. Few Muslims are well versed with the right and most accurate method according to Islam in achieving the objectives of the organizations of their choice, including business organizations. The Islamic evolution has made remarkable and essential contributions in many areas of human life. To achieve these objectives, the teachings of Islam have provided Muslims strong principles and guidelines to live by. In the contemporary world, ethics has become a big issue for discussion, covering all aspects of human life from social and to a corporate culture. The Islamic theory seems to approve the notion of satisfaction and dissatisfaction. Lastly, these are our references. By that, thank you.